we're buying a hell of a lot. Like we're buying an amount that's comparable to that the biggest players in the game are buying. If you look at so I won't talk about Anthropic in particular, but if you talk about the industry, like the amount of compute the industry the amount of compute the industry's building this year is probably in the I don't know, very low tens of call it 10, 15 gigawatts next year. So like next year's 30 or 40 gigawatts, and 2028 might be 100, 2029 might be like 300 gigawatts. And like each gigawatt costs like maybe 10, I mean, I'm doing the math in my head, but each gigawatt costs maybe $10 billion, or order $10 to $15 billion a year. You're getting multiple trillions a year by 2028 or 2029.
You've told investors that you plan to be profitable starting in 2028.
I actually think profitability happens when you underestimated the amount of demand you were going to get, and loss happens when you overestimated the amount of demand you were going to get. Because you're buying the data centers ahead of time. Say, I don't know, let's say you pay $100 billion a year for compute, and on $50 billion a year, you support $150 billion of revenue, and the other $50 billion are used for training. So basically, you're profitable. You make $50 billion of profit. The only thing that makes that not the case is if you get less demand than 50 billion. Then you have more than 50% of your data center for research, and you're not profitable. If you get more demand than you thought, then your research gets squeezed. But you're kind of able to support more inference, and you're more profitable. So these things about 2028 and when it will happen, that's our attempt to do the best we can with investors. The problem is you have this hellish demand prediction problem when you're buying the next year of compute, or you might guess over, and you are not profitable, and you have all the compute for research in the world. The revenue's been going into the maybe is in the low hundreds of billions by 2028.
So you laid out a model where Anthropic makes profit because it seems like fundamentally we're in a compute constrained world, and so it's like eventually we keep growing compute.
No, it doesn't equilibrate to zero.
Help me understand that, because right now we do have three leading firms and they're not making profit. And so what is
we're still in the exponential scale up phase of compute.
Yeah.